Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. You know we love digging into these big ideas, and today is no different. We're going to be talking about mindsets for the future. Like, how do we approach all these huge changes happening in the world? We've got a whole stack of documents here about abundance, scarcity, how to think about problems in a fresh way, even how to talk about all of this without, driving each other crazy.
It's really about creating a brighter future, right? Each one of these documents gives us a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and how do we actually use these ideas, not just talk about them, but really put them into practice? I'm super excited to have you here to help us unpack all of this.
Me too. I think there's a lot of, potential energy in these ideas just waiting to be unleashed.
Totally. So let's jump right in. We've got these two documents, scarcity mindset and abundance mindset. I think most of us have heard these terms before, right? But I'm curious, how do these mindsets actually show up in our everyday lives, in ways we might not even realize?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one way is how we approach learning. Someone with a scarcity mindset might be afraid to share their knowledge because they see it as a limited resource. Like if they give it away, they'll have less for themselves.
Right, it's like hoarding information, right?
Exactly. But someone with an abundance mindset, they see knowledge as something that expands when it's shared.
So they're more likely to be mentors, teachers, eager to collaborate.
Exactly. It's about growing the pie for everyone, not just fighting over a smaller slice.
That's a great point. And the documents also talk about how these mindsets affect risk-taking. Right?
Definitely. Scarcity makes you risk-averse. You're so afraid of losing what you have that you don't go after anything new.
It's playing it safe all the time. But does that really get you anywhere?
Not really. It can actually hold you back, especially when it comes to innovation.
It's like those companies that refuse to adapt, right? They cling to their old ways and then they wonder why they're failing.
Exactly. They're too focused on protecting what they have instead of creating something new and better.
Whereas an abundance mindset encourages you to take risks, knowing that even if you fail, you've learned something valuable.
Right. There's that great example in the Abundance Mindset document about SpaceX. They had all those early rocket failures, but they kept going. They kept learning from their mistakes. And eventually, they made breakthroughs that transformed space exploration.
And made it way more affordable.
Exactly. That's the power of seeing failure as a stepping stone, not a roadblock.
So it's not just about being optimistic. It's about using those failures to fuel innovation, to create something even better.
Exactly. And that's something that applies to every aspect of our lives, not just business or technology. Relationships, personal growth, tackling global challenges, it all comes back to mindset.
Speaking of global challenges, the documents also touch on how scarcity thinking can actually make those challenges worse, right?
Absolutely. When you see the world as a zero-sum game, when you think there's only so much to go around, it's easy to fall into those traps of competition and distrust.
Like fighting over resources.
Exactly, whether it's land, water, political power, anything. But an abundance mindset, it shifts the focus from competition to collaboration.
So instead of fighting over a shrinking pie, we're figuring out how to bake a bigger one.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our shared humanity and working together to create solutions that benefit everyone.
It's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Right. When we focus on collective well-being, everyone wins. And that brings us to another crucial point from these documents, the importance of believing in human potential.
Like that we have the ability to solve these big problems.
Exactly. The Abundance Mindset document makes a strong case that we're living in an era of unprecedented opportunity. We have the knowledge, the technology, the interconnectedness to tackle even the toughest challenges.
But we need the right mindset to unlock that potential.
Absolutely. So how do we cultivate this abundance mindset? Well, the documents offer several practical suggestions, but one of the simplest and most powerful is gratitude.
Just focusing on what we have instead of what we lack.
Yes. It's so easy to get caught up in what's missing, what we don't have. But when we shift our focus to what we're grateful for, it changes our entire perspective.
And it opens us up to see the abundance that's already present in our lives.
Exactly. And it's not just about feeling grateful, it's about expressing that gratitude to others.
Like a simple thank you can go a long way.
It really can. It creates a ripple effect of positivity and strengthens our connections with each other.
That makes sense. But I'm also thinking, it's great to be optimistic, to focus on abundance, but we also need a healthy dose of critical thinking, Rachel.
Of course. And that's where first principles thinking comes into play. It's about being optimistic, yes, but also rigorous in our analysis, challenging our assumptions, and making sure our optimism is grounded in reality.
So it's like informed optimism.
Exactly. It's about breaking down complex problems to their fundamental truths, stripping away all the assumptions and biases to see things with fresh eyes.
So we can build solutions from the ground up based on solid foundations. I love that example in the document about Elon Musk and the cost of batteries.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic example of first principles thinking in action.
Instead of just accepting that batteries were expensive, he asked, why are they expensive? What are the underlying components? How can we make them cheaper? And bam, he revolutionized the electric car industry.
Exactly. It's about questioning the status quo, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and not being afraid to challenge conventional wisdom. And you know what? Both abundance thinking and first principles thinking, they share this belief in possibility.
Like they're two sides of the same coin.
In a way, yes. One recognizes the potential for abundance, while the other provides the framework for actually unlocking that potential.
It's like a dynamic duo for creating positive change.
I like that. And like any good team, we need diverse skills. We've got these tools for problem solving, but what about navigating the human side of things?
Communication, understanding different perspectives, all of that.
Exactly. And that's where navigating beliefs training comes in. This document is all about having constructive conversations with people who see the world differently than we do, which, let's face it, is pretty much everyone these days.
Especially with all the noise and division online. It's so easy to get trapped in echo chambers where everyone just agrees with each other. But that doesn't really get us anywhere, does it?
No, it just reinforces our existing biases and makes it harder to have meaningful dialogue.
So how does navigating beliefs training help us break out of those echo chambers?
It provides a framework for engaging in respectful and productive conversations, even when we disagree with someone.
So it's not about winning an argument,
Nope, it's about understanding each other's perspectives, even if we don't agree with them.
which is way harder than it sounds.
It is challenging, but the document offers some practical tools for navigating those tough conversations. One technique they highlight is called street epistemology.
Okay, what's that?
It's about gently probing the reasons behind someone's beliefs without directly attacking them.
So it's more about asking questions than making statements.
Exactly, and listening, really listening to their answers. The goal is to create a space for genuine dialogue where both sides can learn and grow.
So it's not about changing someone's mind. It's about fostering understanding.
Yes. And in the process, we might even discover that we have more in common than we thought.
This is all so fascinating. It feels like we're building a toolkit for positive change here.
I like that analogy. And each of these documents, they add a new tool to our kit, helping us navigate the complexities of the future with more wisdom, more compassion, and more effectiveness.
I'm excited to keep exploring this toolkit. But before we jump into the last document, A Brighter Future, let's give our listeners a moment to reflect on what we've covered so far.
It's a good idea. It's a lot to take in.
So, dear listener, how do these ideas of abundance thinking, first principles, and navigating beliefs resonate with you? What connections are you making to your own life and your vision for the future?
Take a moment to ponder that. We'll be back in just a bit to explore how all of this comes together in that final document. Give our cows something to talk about. Become a subscriber.
Okay.
Like, are the cows gossiping
Yeah, what are they talking about?
about the subscribers?
Are they like rating our comments?
Yeah. Welcome back. Did you have some good aha moments there?
I know I did. And I'm ready to tackle that last document, A Brighter Future. It seems like it takes all these big ideas and tries to zoom out and look at the big picture.
It does. It's amazing how it takes those concepts, abundance, first principles, navigating beliefs, and applies them to, well, everything. Individuals, businesses, nonprofits, even civilization as a whole.
Wow. So it's not just about personal transformation, it's about societal transformation too.
Exactly. It's about applying those principles at every level to create a world that's, well, brighter.
I love that. So starting with individuals, what actions does A Brighter Future suggest?
It highlights three key things: cultivating gratitude, embracing lifelong learning, and adopting what they call a moonshot mindset.
Moonshot mindset. I love that. Like thinking big, going for those audacious goals. But how do we balance that with being realistic?
That's where first principles thinking comes in. A Brighter Future argues that we can achieve those big, hairy, audacious goals by breaking them down into smaller, manageable steps. It's about asking, what would have to be true for this to work? What are the fundamental building blocks?
And then focusing on those one by one.
Exactly. It's like building a bridge to the future, one step at a time. But you need those strong foundations, those fundamental principles to make sure the bridge doesn't collapse.
That makes sense. And of course, no one person can build that bridge alone, right?
Exactly. The document emphasizes the importance of collaboration, especially for those big moonshot roles. No single person can solve climate change or achieve world peace. It takes all of us working together, sharing our knowledge, our resources, our perspectives.
And that's where those skills from navigating beliefs become so important.
Absolutely. A brighter future recognizes that we're going to disagree. There will always be differences of opinion. But it encourages us to see those disagreements as opportunities for growth, for learning, for finding creative solutions that we might not have discovered on our own.
So it's about turning conflict into collaboration.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together, that we all want a better future, even if we have different ideas about how to get there.
It reminds me of that saying, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. When we lose that connection, that willingness to understand each other, that's when things really fall apart.
That's so true. And a brighter future goes beyond just individuals. It explores how these principles can be applied to organizations too, like businesses.
So how can businesses create a brighter future?
The document suggests several things. Shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset is a big one.
So instead of cutthroat competition, it's about cooperation and collaboration.
Exactly. It's about finding those win-win solutions where everyone benefits. It also highlights the importance of long-term thinking, considering the impact of decisions on all stakeholders, not just shareholders.
That's a big shift from the traditional profit at all costs mentality.
It is. It's about moving towards purpose-driven business, where companies use their resources and influence to make a positive impact on the world.
It's like businesses becoming a force for good.
Exactly. And nonprofits have a huge role to play in this transformation, too.
What does a brighter future recommend for nonprofits?
It emphasizes the importance of focusing on scalable solutions. Like, how can they create impact that goes beyond just helping a few individuals? How can they create systems and structures that can benefit whole communities, even entire societies?
So it's about thinking bigger, more strategically.
Yes. And it also encourages them to leverage data, to use those insights to measure their impact and continually improve their programs.
The data can be so powerful for making sure our efforts are actually making a difference.
It can. And finally, a brighter future stresses the importance of open communication with the communities they serve. It's about listening to people's needs, understanding their perspectives, and co-creating solutions that are both effective and sustainable.
It's about empowering communities to be part of the solution.
Exactly. And this brings us to the most ambitious part of the document, its vision for civilization as a whole.
Wow. Okay, paint me a picture. What does a brighter future see for humanity on a global scale?
It envisions a world where collaboration replaces competition, where we prioritize the well-being of future generations, and where we recognize our interconnectedness and shared responsibility for the planet.
It's a beautiful vision.
Uh-huh.
But how do we get there from where we are now?
The document acknowledges the challenges. Climate change, inequality, political division, technological disruption. It's a lot. But it also reminds us that we have faced huge challenges before. And we have this incredible capacity for problem solving, for innovation, for coming together to create solutions.
So it's not about ignoring the problems, but about facing them head on with courage and optimism.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a mindset of fear and scarcity to a mindset of hope and abundance, and recognizing that even small actions can make a difference.
So what are some of those concrete actions we can take to create that brighter future?
The document suggests investing in education and research, promoting sustainable development, fostering intercultural understanding, and strengthening global governance.
It's interesting how those areas mirror the recommendations for individuals, businesses, and nonprofits. Like it's a fractal pattern, the same principles being applied at different scales.
I love that observation. It highlights how interconnected everything is. Creating a brighter future isn't just about governments and big institutions. It's about the choices we make every day in our own lives, in our communities, in our workplaces.
It's a collective effort, a shared responsibility.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that question. What role will you play in making that vision a reality?
Your journey to deeper understanding starts here.
Okay.
NavigatingBeliefs.com. Sign up. It's free.
So it's not just learning, it's an adventure.
Yeah, like a quest for knowledge.
Makes it sound more exciting than just sitting down with a textbook.
Right. Welcome back to the deep dive. I don't know about you, but my brain is buzzing with all these ideas. We've talked about scarcity versus abundance, first principles thinking, how to have tough conversations constructively, and then that big inspiring vision of a brighter future.
It's a lot to process, right? It's like we've been given a whole new toolkit for thinking about the future.
And what's really striking me is that it's not just about adopting one of these ideas, it's about, weaving them all together.
Exactly. It's like each concept builds on the others, creates this synergy, I guess you could say.
Totally. Like, you can't just have an abundance mindset and expect everything to magically work out. You need that critical thinking from first principles. You need those communication skills from navigating beliefs.
Right. It's about combining optimism with like a grounded approach to problem solving.
And what I really appreciated about A Brighter Future is that it didn't just present this, utopian vision. It actually gave us concrete steps we can take to make that vision a reality.
It's a call to action, right? It's saying, okay, here's the big picture. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly. So, dear listener, we want to hear from you. What resonated most with you from all of this? What are you taking away from this deep dive?
And most importantly, what action, big or small, are you inspired to take?
Maybe it's finally having that tough conversation you've been putting off,
Hmm.
or applying first principles thinking to a problem at work, or even just taking a moment each day to practice gratitude.
It all adds up, right? It's those individual actions that create the collective momentum for change.
And remember, creating a brighter future isn't about achieving some kind of perfect utopia. It's about progress. It's about moving in the right direction, one step at a time.
And it's about remembering that we're not alone in this journey. We're all connected. We're all in this together. And by supporting each other, sharing our knowledge, and working collaboratively, we can create a future that's truly worthy of the name Bright.
So beautifully said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to embrace the abundance that surrounds us. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep those imaginations soaring.